Okay, guys, so it's being recorded from now on. Welcome, everyone. This webinar has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group. It is a big WhatsApp group of people from all over the world, and we cultivate the habit of fasting once a week after week after week on a persistent basis, abstaining from food at least for 24 hours with an option for an extension. So my name is Arik. I am the moderator of this group, and you will find my details below this video. So if this idea appeals to you and you would love to cultivate this habit of abstaining from food, you would love to have some framework and some kind of supportive environment to cultivate this habit, you are welcome to send me a WhatsApp message. You will find my WhatsApp number below this video, and I will happily add you to this group. We have wonderful people there. So that was a brief introduction. So today we have Nicolas. Welcome, Nicolas. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for dedicating your valuable time to enlighten us, to answer our questions. We are going to talk about energy cultivation, about breatharian lifestyle in general, and about life, different aspects of life in general. But we will start with a short guided meditation by Nicolas, just to get grounded. And after that, we will delve right to the webinar. So, Nicolas, I'm muting myself now. Over to you.
Thank you, Arik. Thank you for everything. So we usually have this kind of meditation before we have the sharings that we have when we have the groups. So it is something just to open up our space and to relax and just to prepare for the talk that we're going to have. So it is a very easy meditation. You will just have to close your eyes and just breathe normally, relax, and just enjoy these minutes. It's going to be around 8-9 minutes. And then I'll ask you to open up your eyes again. And we are going to start with a small intention, and just let go and just don't worry, whatever you think, just let go, and you'll find out whatever has to come will manifest, and just to try to stay in the silence. So we can take a comfortable position, have a nice breath, and we can close our eyes and connect with our space of happiness, joy, and bliss, and inner silence. All our cells and our atoms are taking from the prana, from the chi, from the love, from the light, from the pranic field of the universe at every instant, all that they need to be in perfect health and perfect harmony. Enjoy this journey. You can slowly open up your eyes and come back in this dimension, the only reality. Welcome back, everyone, to this second talk that I'm going to have thanks to Arik and thanks to the fasting group. So this is my second intervention. So I'm going to speak, we're going to speak about breatharianism, pranic living, and everything that is linked to this paradigm. So the way we define it is that breatharianism is the capacity of human being to sustain without the normal food, liquid or solid food that usually nowadays humans are using and consuming. So this capacity is already in every one of us, in every human being. It's available, but it needs to be awakened. So it manifests very differently in all the human beings that want to awaken it. So they are very, very different. We have established different categories of breatharians. So they are the ones that are very rare, and they are the ones that are living today. They are some of them, but they are very rare. We have counted 1 out of 10 millions humans that are living without the need of consuming solid food or liquid food. And then there's the other category. It's a bit, let's say, we have given them numbers. We could have given them colors, of course, but numbers. This is what we chose. So the category 4 are the ones that are sustaining without liquids and solids. Category 3 are the ones that are playing around still with some calories through solid food or liquid food. It can be only liquid food every day, or it can be a meal once a week, once a month, twice a week, usually maximum. Usually there are many breatharians in that state, in that category. This is mine. My experience brought me now since 10 years nearly. After 10 years of practice, I'm now in a situation where well, now it's 22 days that I'm on liquids, and I usually keep the last week of the month where I have usually 1 or 2 meals. It depends. It can be 1, it can be 2. This has evaluated on my journey, of course. In the beginning, it was not always like that. In the beginning, I had even up to 2 or 3 meals a week, and I was discovering this state. This state is something that by practice, it's going to happen sooner or later. It's a bit like when you want to run a marathon, you need to train before running a marathon. So you start by running 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, and the body slowly is going to build the capacity to sustain a 40 kilometer run. So then we have category 2. It means the category 2 are all the people that are doing fasting experience, like in this group, intermittent fasting, people that also have changed their diet and that are doing like veganism or even raw food, or that are having a restriction of calories. They are all doing an experience that is about energy. They are not maybe aware of breatharianism, but what they are doing in their system is they are consuming less quantity, they are getting better quality, and they are raising their level of energies, because this is a breatharian, basically. It is someone who has extinguished all the needs of the memories of wanting, of cravings of food, and is living with his natural state of being. There's nothing exceptional in a breatharian. The only thing that is exceptional, that he's doing something that apparently all the other humans are not doing, or are doing at a different level. And then we have category 1 that are the usual nowadays, of course, humans that are eating many times a day. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes even more times a day. So energy is always flowing in human body. But the fact that the humans are having all this solid food and also liquid food, it creates a lot of blockage and a lot of tiredness for the body. So this tiredness creates disruption, and this causes oldness to rise, and this causes the illness to appear, and this causes anticipated death in human body. So what we see with this practice, with this diet, with this lifestyle, it is many, many different types of benefits. I can speak about my benefits. I did many years in martial arts. I'm now 51 years old, and my body was very much disrupted by extreme sport that I was doing. But so I had my knees that was damaged, my cartilage was damaged. I had some broken bones, and I was suffering when I was 15 years ago. I was suffering very much and couldn't do much with my body. Now everything has rejuvenated, and last month I was cutting wood in the forest because I have my body back, and so cutting wood on the mountain is something that is quite tough, and I'm very, very pleased that my body is responding again to this new lifestyle, a new opportunity of life that I have. I don't go and see the doctor anymore since many, many years, of course. I do my analysis sometimes, and I see that my quality of blood is very, very good. I'm not, well, lately this winter, I've seen that the doctor said to me that I'm missing a bit of vitamin D. It means sunshine. So because of the winter, probably I had a decrease of, but I've seen my numbers in summer, and my numbers are very, very high. So it doesn't create much trouble to me. So apart that, I'm in very, very good health. So I see that there's Morgaine there. Hey, Morgaine, I didn't see you. Nice to see you. Good. So when I started this journey, I started this journey because of a documentary that I've seen in 2012, and so it's called my curiosity because I was suffering a bit in my life. I was 41 years old in that moment, and this brought me to investigate and brought me to start slowly to look on the internet what there was available. So 10 years ago, there was much less than what is available now. This topic, if you go and see, there are many, many facilitators, many, many breatharians. With this capacity that we have now as human beings to have this technology available, information is going very, very quick. So what we understand from this breatharian, what we call it breatharianism, but actually it had so many different names through history and through civilization that it is amazing. In ancient Latin, they call it anorexia mirabilis. So we know anorexia from the illness that we use in our society, and it's called anorexia nervosa. It's the nervous one. But I found out that there's also the other one, the opposite, the anorexia mirabilis. It means the miracle. It means you don't need to eat anymore, and you are sustained by, let's say, the Holy Spirit in this case. It's also called inedia prodigiosa. So this is a word for ancient Latin for our Christian part. And if we go and see in the Chinese environment, we have the big U. It means sustaining literally without the cereals. And they have a Taoist, a Zen, and very, very ancient traditions that are still there happening nowadays. We are not much in communication with our brothers and sisters in China, but they are effectively, we have information that they are temples and centers that are practicing this type of nourishment and this way of lifestyle. And they also have 3 levels that explain how the qi sustains the body naturally. And so it's the first level is equivalent to the second level. It means you are starting to practice and you're starting to feeling the benefits. And the second level of the bigu is the same as our third level. It's you are sustaining mostly on the chi, but still having a sustainment, a support of liquid or solid food sometimes. And then level 3 of the bigu is like our level 4 is sustaining completely on the chi. So chi, prana, energy, all these words, they mean life force. It's the fuel of the universe. It's the fuel of the atom. It is already present in our system. Is just producing prana at every instant because we are not separated. It's an illusion to be to have or to think that we are separated. But truly, that illusion becomes truth, because that illusion starts with what we do. And what we do when we put food in our system is we create the separation in between our atoms and our cells. By creating this separation, because you must understand how we function, it means everything that we put through our mouth will go in every atoms that we have in our body, from our hair to our toes, meaning that every atoms will have a share of what we drink, what we eat, or what we breathe also. So when we have too much density, we are giving too much work to do for our system. And this system is going to start to go slower and slower. And this is when we go into depression. And the depression is the beginning of all our problems. So the idea to be a breatharian is to not to go into depression mode, but to stay at least on this nice ascension, flowing energy that is available for everyone. So the idea to be a breatharian is not to stop eating, but to find your correct amount of sustainment through liquids or solid food. And this is very different of what our society says, that you need to have 3 meals a day and blah, 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 blah. So how do we start on this journey? Well, there are so many ways to start, but we have a Pranic center in Italy. I have dedicated my family house. I live in the woods in a tent, but I have a house. I inherited it from my family, and it's a very nice place in Italy in nature, and we have dedicated to a Pranic center. So we have, since 7 years, we offer this service for people, offering groups in person and offering also groups now online. And what we see and what we works is to start to put the body not into a situation where he's fasting too much, because fasting is something different, and we're going to talk about this. Fasting has a real purpose. The purpose is to clean, to heal, to find also spiritual information. But the intention is not to quit or to change deeply our relation with food. Instead, pranic living, becoming a breatharian, is to really observe that food is an option, something that is really an option, and you're living your life without that. So it means it's a big step. Because as you understand, all our society, civilization, actually nowadays, in the future, and it's going to be probably different, because somehow we need to change something, is built around consuming and is built around eating, cooking, buying, hunting, picking, and food. 80% of our activities are based on that. So. And this is the reasons of many troubles that we are observing now in our civilization. It means that how much can we consume? Is consumption still possible? Is there? Can we do it? Can we still play around? So one thing is to be sure that you need, and then when you think that you need, you're going to do everything that is in your power to fulfill that need. But when you know that you don't need, not because someone has told you that, not because I'm saying so, but because you have experienced it, then it changes everything, because you can do something different for your life. So the idea is not to preach, but is to bring people to understand that there is another way to go in this existence, in this human existence that we all sharing on this earth, our beloved earth, that is coming to a situation where he has to start thinking about the next step that we want for our civilization. So the first step that we invite people is to just start a journey in transmuting, changing their amount of solidity in liquidity, to bring more harmony and more fluidity to the system that we have. The system that we have is not based on solid food, or we have some solid parts in our body, but most of our system is 80%, if not more, of liquidity. So liquid food is actually much more adapted for our system than solid food. It doesn't mean that sometimes we cannot play around with solid food, but it has to be, as I said, an option. This is what I bring as an information. And this is actually the information that is going around the world, because when you go vegetarian, you're going to start eating less hard products. And when you go vegan, it's even softer. And when you go on raw food, and fruitarian, it's even softer. And when you go on liquid diet, it's even so. You're refining your being. And by refining your digestion, you're refining all your being as a whole. It means the information you channel, the way you react, the emotions, your mental capacity, your lucidity, your perceptions, everything gets a enhancement. So you're going to have we don't call it, we call it the natural state of being, because this is normality. What is not normality, at least from my point of view, is the world I collaborated in for 40 years. Of course, I was a big eater. I was eating a lot, so I know where I come from. But it's not sustainable. I was really on the verge of not feeling really good, and feeling death coming. At the age of even of 30 years old, I was not feeling really good. So, but now everything changed. I understood that this breatharian path gave me so much that I dedicate my life now, because it has made me understand that before I was on the surviving mode, trying to find a way to survive. But this now is perfect life, just living with simplicity, with just what you need. And what people need is not what is their habits. Their habits is traditions, is what they've done in the childhood, is the way the family, the parents made you eat, and it's a lot of what the society is going to bring you from your teenage through school and through your work, and the traditions of our ancestors, of course. But everyone has a choice in his life to reconnect with something a bit different. And this is why everywhere now fasting is becoming a trend. Changing diets is becoming something very common. And even the breatharianism is becoming a topic, because even here in Italy, where I am now, but I move around the world, they have invited me a few times to talk about my topic on TV channels, because there's a huge question is how, because longevity is not getting better for humans. This is something that every nations are seeing. It means with our technology, we should be able to get over 100 years old, but to be in a healthy state. It means not to get to 100 years, but in a way that we need to be sustained by medicaments, by support of a lot of different means. It means just by our own healthy lifestyle. So the idea is to go slowly, because as I said, to run a marathon, if you think you can and you want, it's just not going to happen like that. You're going to put yourself in danger. And I want to remind you how the word marathon came from. It came from an ancient Greek battle where they won against the invader. An invasion, and to celebrate the victory, they sent a message to the closest city, and it was a soldier who carried the message to the king that he was 40 kilometers away, and he ran for 40 kilometers. He delivered the message, but He died because he was not prepared, but he was a soldier in the ancient time of Greek. So he was much more prepared than anyone else here present. So you understand that now running a marathon is something that has become really easy if you prepare. You have the marathon of Rome, there are marathon of New York. Every city has its marathon, and there are thousands of people running. So it means that we are just nowadays, there are hundreds, if not thousands, or millions of breatharians that are coming, you know, that are becoming breatharian. Breatharian is just simply to be free of conditions. It's a name, it's a label, but don't worry, don't be serious about that. It's just apparently what you're doing, you're breathing. This is the only thing that you're doing, you're breathing. And it is true because I've met some of them. I've met at least 10 of them because we organize a festival where we invite them. I'm not them, of course, but this is what they say, and I have no reasons not to believe them. 10 of them that are simply not eating and not drinking, or maybe they're drinking a glass of water, maybe one coffee, and they are not thin. They have cheeks. And myself, I have cheeks, and I'm just having around 600 calories a day through my liquids. So it is something that already with that, I'm already challenging all the science that is around, because the science says something very, very simple. It means you can only increase mass if you consume solid food or liquid food in a certain amount, and the amount is labeled 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 calories a day. And this is what we invite people through our initiations, and we invite people to go slowly and to not to go fast, not to go when they're not prepared on dry days, when they're not prepared even on water days, because what is going to happen, there's going to be a drop of mass, and the drop of mass in the beginning is going to be maybe nice because you're going to release a lot of energy, but you're burning actually your reserves and your capacity. So there's a moment you need to stabilize, and if you don't know how to stabilize, and in the beginning, if you're not facilitated, you're going to just be happy until you're not happy anymore, and you don't know how to keep this happiness because you're just losing weight and it's not sustainable. And this is why the fasting is going to end and you're going to resume with food. And the way you're going to go back on food is very important. But if you lost 5, 10 kg or even more, but even some kg, you're going to have the wantings to regain them in a quick way by introducing the solid food. And this is going to create an alteration, of course. So the idea is to really, really not look when we do these breatharian initiations, we just say to people, do you know what we're doing? This is not fast. You're not going to lose weight, or if you lose weight, it will be just a few kg, and then you're going to probably increase weight. So be ready to stay how you are, because the idea is not to become breatharian to lose weight, but to understand that who you are is already perfect from the point of view of the universe. Don't let anyone say to you what to do, how and when. It means surrendering your power is surrendering your existence. And this is what we are. So it's like sheep. You can be black sheep and resist, or white sheep, but it will be always the shepherd. The shepherd will have a stick, will have a carrot, and will decide for you what to do. The idea to be breatharian is you're going to become a horse, a winged horse, and you're going to just fly, and you're going to change all the rules. The shepherd will just can't reach you anymore. You will be flying. You're going to design your own rules, exactly like the caterpillar and the butterfly. Caterpillar is bounded to the ground for for a long time, and he has to eat. He cannot transmute to a butterfly unless he's done. He has enough and he has eaten enough. So you need a certain maturity to switch consciousness. This is why you need to be in this, apparently, this is what we observe. You cannot go too fast and too quick. The bodies that create our being, it means not only the physical body, but the experience of life needs to be enough mature in order to transmute. Because when the caterpillar is done, he naturally goes to become a butterfly. And when the butterfly comes to existence, it's a wholly different flies, so he doesn't walk anymore. He eats differently, and he plays around with in a different way. So it's all a different existence. And this is a nice image that I wanted to share with you that shows you a bit what we are expecting as a humanity. We are in the caterpillar era. Everyone is eating, all the nations are eating a lot, everything, you know, we are eating, consuming hills, mountains, forests, waters, everything, even the air now we're consuming, and we are planning to consume asteroids and other planets because it's like organized craziness. Instead, we have this new beautiful option to all become butterflies, and the earth stays as it is, and it becomes even better on the point of view of nature, and everything becomes paradise. This is it. It's paradise on earth. And this is why our Pranic Center, we are called it the Garden of Eden. It's called Eden Pranic Center because this is it. This is the manifestation. And this is happening. What I'm saying to you, many breatharians are saying all around the world, here and now. It is something that has been, this echo comes from the past. There has always been breatharians in all the civilization of our humanity, since the dawn of age. The manifestation comes spontaneously. We have a history of human beings that just spontaneously felt they didn't want to, they didn't feel the need of drinking or eating anymore. And they were in the good conditions. They didn't have pressure from family, pressures from friends, from work, from the situation. And they became breatharian. They became naturally saints, basically. We have the records, the history is there. So it happens naturally. So what we can do is just observe all together. And this is another functioning of potentials of our human body. So this is wonderful. So this was my introduction. So we can maybe, yes, Arik.
Yeah, so it was really, really inspiring. And yeah, so I would love to know, like, this subject of energy cultivation fascinates me because I feel that on the one hand, we can increase our energy by maybe doing certain exercises or keeping certain mind states. On the other hand, we can also, we also waste lots of energy by negative thinking, by negative emotions, by unnecessary things we are doing, maybe unnecessary exposure to social media and other things. So I would love to ask you to give us certain maybe rules or certain tips how to cultivate energy on the one hand, and on the other hand, how not to waste the energy that we already have. Because, for example, during sleep, we accumulate energy, like people who eat food, they get certain energy from food, but how not to waste it. So that's also very important.
Absolutely. Thank you, Arik. I've prepared some answers for this question that you asked me on the chat. So what happens when people eat is they are bringing to them, when they eat too much, they are bringing to them a lot of work to do for not only all the organs, but all the atoms and all the cells, and all our system needs to work a lot. So we are creating a conflict in that moment. What we, for example, during the night, people sleep a lot more than they should because they are digesting and the body is restoring and is healing. This is why in the morning, this is why we usually say that the night is a small fast, because in the morning there is the breakfast. So you are breaking the fast of the night, and you have that word in French, that word in Italian, in many other languages. So the idea to cultivate the energy is to stay in the breatharian lifestyle and to find your balance. This is the first rule. And just to be aware that when you go for extra, it means you're going to eat a bit more. You're just going to have the causes and effect. You're going to have like a hangover the day after. You cannot avoid this hangover. It's a bit like if you want to go with friends and have a beer. Do you hear me? Yeah?
Sure, yeah.
if you want to go with friends and have a glass of alcohol, you know that on the day after you're going to have some effects. You know, it's okay, but you're going to drink accordingly to what you know your body can sustain and what you have to do the day after. If it is Sunday, you're going to drink in a certain way. If it is not, if it is a working day, you're going to drink in another way. So all of this, people who are eating 3 times a day, they are just not aware because they are always in the problem. When you get out of the problem, and the problem is the food and all the amount of energy that you're using to digest and to you know, our scientists finally are very useful because they have found the autophagy, you know, this happening that happens when you put the body in a situation where he is not consuming anymore. So it is very well explained how it works. Huh? All the system is going to start to recycle and to clean and to get rid of whatever you don't need in that moment. But there is more to come, because what the science knows, he only knows about 5 or maybe 10 days, but breatharians are what are at the head of what is going to come in the future. It means what happens after weeks, months, years, and decades. So what we can see is that sleep is an option. Breatharians that I know on level 4, it means the ones that are not drinking and eating, they sleep 1 or 2 hours a night, and their sleep is very, very soft and very, very soft sleep. It's an option also. You can not sleep for 1 week if you want. Then of course you need to harmonize and stabilize. Myself, I sleep now. Before I was sleeping maybe for the amount of food I was taking is leveled with the amount of food I was taking. But now I'm sleeping in between 3 to 6 hours, depending on the season, of course. I'm still, let's say, the influence of what the climate, whatever you're doing, is going to influence all your life also. But food is at the top level. What is the most important first condition of your life is how are you nourished. So so the way so from this question that how to cultivate the energy. Well, first to understand how we work, and how we work is that if you do the correct action that is aligned with yourself, it means the correct action means something that you have chosen, that is aligned with your expectations, and that brings a lot of sustainability. It means that it is something that when you do it, you understand that you can do it all your life. It is something good. Most of human beings are not in that state, because they are doing maybe something that they don't like, maybe something that they are obliged to do, and something maybe that they don't really understand deeply. So all of this happening, how to reveal it, it's going to be revealed naturally by the wisdom of life. Wisdom of life is always there. It is in every one of us. But when people are eating too much and they are in this depression mode, it covers up this wisdom of life, this natural intuition of what is good and what is bad and what I need to do here and now. So it really, I can go on like this for a long time, explaining always the problem and coming back to the solution. The solution is to, everyone needs to find his correct relation with solid food and liquid food at every day, and depending on the stage of consciousness and the age also. Somebody who is 20 years old and the same person who is 30 years old is going to have all the different nourishment. The work, the way, where you live on Earth is going to influence a lot the way you eat, from the climate and what you eat, and not only what you eat, but who you are, basically. So what I can see at my level is, when I consume liquids, I use certain types of liquids. I use them for the effects that they provoke on me. So the effects that they provoke on me is only for me. It means it works for me. I don't know if it works for anyone else. So it's up to you to understand what type of liquids or food, of course, what it brings you, and if you really need it. So is it a memory, or is it something that has a really a good effect, and you understand that it is producing more than losing more? Because many people are just stuffing themselves because they are not aware of all the everything that is happening basically in their life. So they are more unaware of who they are. To be breatharian is aware of the responsibility you carry as a tool of life. So, for example, I use coffee to exalt. I use the power of coffee to exalt my cells and my atoms. It means if I need to do something that I need to wake up, and this is why all the world is using coffee, basically they use it in the morning. This is something I sometimes use, not only in the morning, but I use it also during the day to wake up and to do something to exalt, to bring to different awakening. In the same way, I use cacao powder. I use it to harmonize and to bring peace. When I need to do something a bit more focused, if I need to do a very detailed work, I will probably take a beverage of cacao. And it's exactly what is the effect of the cacao. It brings centeredness, it brings harmony, and it brings peace to your being. This is why when you're a bit excited, going on chocolate is something that people usually do. So yeah, and then I use also for sugarness, I use only honey. If I want to bring a bit of sugarness to my beverage, it can be hot water. I can put some in my cacao. I can put some in my coffee. I use only honey for that. And I'm becoming a bee, how do you say it? A beehive cultivator.
I think they call it beekeeper.
Beekeeper, yes. I'm finishing a course of beekeeper to produce our own honey that we use in our center, so organic honey, basically. And so sometimes I use also density through liquids. I use potato powder in soups and hot water with a bit of potato. And I use that when I'm too high on energy, because sometimes you're going to be too high on energies and you need to root yourself. So this is when I use, and I do myself a soup. And this is a tool that people need to understand that on the journey, of course, because I'm always evolving. I don't know what the future is going to bring me, but I use these tools of different textures of density to bring more or less energy. I also use sometimes sparkling water when I want to have to enjoy with others and to enhance my joy. And the sparkling, it reminds me, for me it works, it reminds me champagne, basically. So I like sparkling water, and Italy has beautiful sparkling waters, and you can have that with the juice. You can have sparkling water with and mix it with whatever other beverage. I think that on the journey of liquidity, it's very, very useful and a very happy friend. And then sometimes I've experienced many, many dry days. I've experienced water days. So I know how to handle myself on the different levels of consuming. And if I need to focus and I need to prepare for a special events, I go dry. It means I don't even take consuming any more liquids. It can be for some hours or some days before that event, because everything is going to fall into position. It's going to, I will be able to channel more wisdom. This is what I've seen for me, at least. Yes, and what is really important, if ever people are eating and are struggling a bit with the food, and they still want to do something that can benefit them, and they really don't want to go on liquids or to do fasting, what you can always do to bring more joy and more energy to yourself is to go in contact with nature. This is something I invite everyone. If ever you don't know what to do, you're bored of life, the only effort you need to do is to take your body by some mean, with your willpower, and bring your body to sit next to a tree, next to a bush, next to a piece of grass. Go into the woods if you can, and just lay down there and sit there and stay there with nature. Be out in the wind, go under maybe even if it's raining, you can take an umbrella, but just go out and contact with nature, with the wind, with something that is natural, not human processed and not human created. This is going to bring you natural energy, because the wisdom of life will, through that, will penetrate you as much as it can and as much as you allow it to happen. So this increases very much when you are on the breatharian path. This is one thing that we do every morning when we have our breatharian initiations in our Pranic center. We invite in the morning, first thing we do, it's our breakfast, we go for a walk, a natural walk. This is the technique that is everyone, we have been designed with 2 legs and arms, and everyone has a different way of walking. Like that, you don't need to follow the yoga teacher, the Qigong master, and everyone goes for a walk in nature, and it's perfect. And you have different speeds, and everyone goes at this different, and this you can reproduce easily wherever you go afterwards. This is our nature. We need to start walking a bit more and to recuperate our capacity of walking. And by doing that, it's going to help to flow, because we are like a battery. If you understand how a battery functions, it means if the battery is not losing too much or gaining too much, he will be in the flow. The battery will always function. It's like it's going to be amazing. But if you're consuming too much, the battery will slowly lose down. So the same for your breatharian journey. If you hit the correct amount of liquid food or solid food, you're going to be in the bliss state, and you're not going to lose it, because in the beginning, you're going to be too much, to not enough, but from that you're going to learn how to stay in equanimity and in bliss. So this is what we try to make people discover through our initiations, and it works pretty well. Actually, we have good results now after 7 years that we practice, and that we have far away 1,000 people, and with all the feedbacks, and with all the issues. Of course, myself, I started my journey with, we were doing only on water. We were doing pranic initiations on water. 21 days on water is very tough for the body, and people would balance their weight, but it would always be a drop of mass, and it would not be very easy to incorporate in daily life when they would go back to family, to work, to social activities. What, you're only drinking water? It's going to be too much challenging. You can do that when you're really experienced, but the transition, when you start your first process on the pranic journey, to become breatharian, you're going to need at least 1 year to do all the seasons, all the days of 1 year, and then you're going to need a few years to understand the immensity of what is happening in your life. All the expansion of awareness, everything that is going to be a possible change in your life is like amazing, because you're going to be at the top choice of your life, but you will have the possibility to change everything. Your nationality, your family, your partner, your friend, everything, your identity, of course, but everything is, and you're going to discover who you are. You're going to discover your true friend, the universe. That was always there. But when you discover your true friend, the universe that is supporting you through the wisdom of life, you never feel lonely anymore. You feel like supported in everything that you do. You have the word of love just printed in you. You understand that the true meaning of love is that. It's just to be one with the universe and just feel that you are healthy, and the universe is helping you to be healthy and to perform your duty. And your duty is not what you think it is. Your duty is to be in service of life. And it's all a discovery. And every one of us, of course, needs to discover this and needs to create the effort to become. A bit like the caterpillar. The caterpillar, if he doesn't do whatever he does, he cannot become the butterfly.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, do you have any questions at this point? If you do, you can just unmute yourself and ask, because we also have few questions in the chat. But first of all, let's give the first priority to the live questions of the live audience.
There is Marc-Antoine.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. Like the vision speaks to me so much. I haven't done the nourishment part of it, but the vision of it and the feeling of it just it resonates a lot. And yeah, you were talking about the losing weight, and from the video I saw and testimony, that's the part that kind of scared me, because all the rest I feel I would love to try, but since I'm already thin, I'm telling myself I cannot afford like to lose much more. So I was curious to, when you follow people, like, do you see some people who get to do a transition without losing too much, or? Thank you.
Thank you, Marc-Antoine. So we have a few people in this chat that have done the process with me, that can testify of that happening probably. But the only weight loss that we see the way we do it now is just maybe a bit too much stool that you have in your intestine, because our intestine is like 10 meters long, and so we have some stool stacking, since some of them are stacking there since years. So you're going to maybe lose 1 or 2 kg of stool, and maybe you, but it depends of your mass, of course. And maybe you have a retention of liquids. So it means that saltiness and sugarness have created a retention of the liquids in the body. So you have extra liquids that are there that you don't need. And maybe that is maybe 1 liter, 2 liters also. So when that is done, normally you're going to stabilize very quickly. And when we do 9-day on liquids, and if people liked it, they can extend to 21. So what we see is maybe a slight drop of weight in the beginning, but then it's going to stabilize, and people will learn how to increase again in a different way. But the mass you're going to recuperate is new mass. It means it's not the old mass that you were having. So there are new cells, there are new mass, new energy coming in, and this is quality. This is quality of mass. And then you will learn the more and more because you will be in the doubts. And we are at the command, at the HQ of our body, and our body is all these cells and all these atoms. So we need to, before, go slowly and understand what we want for our life, because it's not easy to choose to eat once a day, once a week, once a month. So you need time to see how it performs on you and to see the benefits, because if the benefits are not evident, then of course solid food was not a problem. And so you want to see before to choose. And this is why the way we started is our main focus is for people not to lose weight in the beginning, at least during these 9 days, because we know what's going to happen afterwards. It's going to create cravings. They're going to go back on food in a way that it's not healthy, and it's going to create even more problems then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eli, how was it in your case? Because you have just finished the retreat with Nicolas, right?
My case, the first insight I had was in one of the days, in the first days, Nicolas said, "This is not fasting." And well, I didn't know, So he started explaining that we were not supposed to lose a lot of weight. And I thought that we were, I don't know, I didn't know anything, and I started to learn. So in my case, I am overweight, a little overweight. So I wasn't concerned about losing weight. And Nicolas told me that even though I thought that I was overweight, I wasn't supposed to lose weight. So the first days of I did the 21 days. The first days of the 9 days, I actually gained weight because I drank a lot of fruit juice or orange juice and apple juice, and because I had cravings, you know. The three days, for the first 3 days, I had a lot of cravings, and then I stabilized and I went back to the weight I had before. And in the last days, the last week, during the process, I lost very few. I lost 2.5 kgs in the 21 days, and now I'm stable. I am not losing weight, and I am having only liquids, like 600, 700 calories a day, and I'm fine, and I have good energy. I never felt a loss of energy. I always had good energy. But yes, it is, for me, I think that the realization that I wasn't supposed to lose weight was a great thing, and I wouldn't have realized that without the guidance of Nicolas, you know, because when I told him, he smiled and he said, well, we are not supposed to lose weight. So it was like, wow, for me.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing. Ellen, maybe we could use this opportunity for you to give a little testimonial about this retreat that you did with Nicolas, because after that we will have another questions. We have quite a few questions more. So if you are here, maybe you could tell us a few words about that.
Well, I also saw the same film that Nicolas saw in 2012. I saw the same. In the beginning, there was light, and but I wasn't convinced. I didn't think that it was for me. So I started investigating, but I didn't know if it was for me. And thanks to this group and to you, Arik, you brought Nicolas to this group, and I discovered that there was a more gentle process, because I had investigated about the processes, because I was decided to do a supervised process for breatharianism, but the other processes that I investigated were kind of tough for me. Okay. You know, 7 days dry fast, for example. I never did more than 1 day dry fast. So for me, that was kind of a challenge. And the process Nicolas guides is a process that you are able to continue with your daily life, continue with your daily obligations if you have. And so for me, was a very gentle process. I felt detoxing and healing in my body and my mind and my spirit. And it was a very gentle process to align with the pranic lifestyle and the daily guidance and from Nicolas, and it was fundamental for me. And also the meditating and sharing every morning with the group, and the sharing of our experiences, the day-to-day sharing, for me it was very helpful, and I felt great comfort in that. So so far, it's my first time. It's my first pranic process, but well, for me, it was the one that I needed. You know, it was the perfect for me. I don't know if for other people it's perfect, but for me, it was perfect. And I will continue with this lifestyle, and I plan to repeat the process. I don't know if next month, but sometime in the future I will repeat the process, but I don't plan to go back, for example, to solid food in the near future, you know. So that's my experience, and I am very grateful to Nicolas and also to Rafaela, because we have a session with Rafaela. It's a very special session, and it's very enlightening, and you learn more about yourself, which is, I think, very important as well. So very grateful and very happy.
Wow, Eli, thank you so much. And you're saying that you were able to combine this online process with your daily activities, yeah?
Yes, I am an SEO specialist. I work in the digital marketing field. So I had the first 9 days, I was working and having meetings. And then I decided to continue to complete the 21 days. So I decided to take a vacation for the remaining days to be more in peace and to be more focused in the process. But it was because I could do that, you know. But if I had to continue working every day and doing the process, it would have been possible.
You're saying I couldn't hear what you very well, so it would be possible, yeah?
Yes, it is possible. It is very possible to continue your life and your daily life, and it's possible to see other people, to go outside, and to you know, it's part of the journey as well, because yes, so for me it was perfect.
Eli, so right now, after finishing the process, you're completely on liquids, right? You do not consume any solid foods.
No, I didn't have solid food since the April the 1st, and I plan to continue on liquids.
Good. And what amount of liquids do you usually consume? I know that it's completely different for everyone. I'm just curious about specifically you, like liter, 2 liters, 5 liters, how much?
Yeah, well, I am around the 600 calories and 2 liters of liquids. Combining, I drink orange juice and vegetable broth and apple juice, tea, coffee, water. That's it.
Interesting, very interesting. Okay, Eli, thank you so much for your great testimonial. Thank you, so uplifting. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, do you have any other questions? If you do, please unmute yourself and ask. Yes.
There's Antoine and Veronica also afterwards.
Sure.
Yes. So thank you, Nicolas, for the energy, and thank you everyone for your sharings as well. I wanted to ask a question which would be hopefully generic, but I feel an urgency to ask a question which is related to my case right now. And let me explain. I started 10 days ago a fast with water for 6 days. And then I started eating just a few apples for 4 days. And tonight I was going to have, my first meal. And then Nicolas, I saw your link. And so I canceled that meal. And I'm at the point where I wish, I don't want to drop what I've started. This idea of learning the Pranic path happened a few days ago. So I guess I feel like I need some kind of a guidance so I don't drop out back to,
Absolutely, Antoine. Thank you. So the idea to be breatharian is to be food free, food freedom. It means the capacity to go to food and the capacity to get out of the food. The same way you're going to have a glass of alcohol, you're going to have it, you know what you're having, and it's not because of that you're going to have it afterwards. So you're not breaking everything because you're introducing something a bit more denser than you think. So the idea first to go on a process is something that takes a lot of courage, but you need to have the same courage to continue life. And part of our life now as a humans is a lot with food. So we need to have the capacity to have this hybrid mode to go when because you probably want to sooner or later sit with your friends, with your family, and enjoy one meal once in a while. There's a wedding, a birthday, for any kind of reasons. And to have this capacity is possible as breatharian. So the idea, or what I can say to you, is next process we're going to start is going to be on the 1st of May. You can sign up for that process and have it with us and see how it functions, and just get all the informations to add to your own journey, and you will see that they are useful information. And in the meantime, you can enjoy some solid food, with not thinking that you're going to break anything, because it's part of the knowledge to know the causes and effect. If you don't know clearly the causes and effect of the food in your system, then you don't know who you are and what you're doing. And now it's a perfect moment for you to understand better how you function as a human being in transition. So of course you have been doing six days on water and 4 days on apples, if I understood. So what you want is not to disrupt too much your system. So you go on very, very soft. You can just, if you want, if you don't feel attracted by solid food, you can just go on liquid food. Means smoothies, juices, teas. Just stay on liquid if you feel safe. And if you want to have some food, you just have some soft food, fruits, vegetable, salad, something very easily to digest. And you go very slowly, and you do that in a way that you're not you're with yourself, not in the if you want. Otherwise, what I invite you to have a process with us on the 1st of May.
I'm definitely considering it on the spot right now, if I can make it happen or not. I was wondering if it'd be possible to perhaps talk to you for a session, so perhaps as soon as possible. Is it something that would be possible?
Yes, absolutely. We have I can offer my time for private sessions. We can just book tomorrow if you want, and we can have half an hour talk or 1 hour. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Veronica was asking a question. Where is the question? About the breatharians who drink 4 cups of coffee a day. How would that relate to someone who has a raw vegan diet? Well, coffee is just a plant and has an effect. If you know the effect of the coffee, and it's a tool. Everything is a tool in our existence. It's something that we can use if the situations are there to be used. From our point of view. So if you know about the power of this super plant that is coffee, you can use it whatever your diet is. But maybe you want to answer a different question, or to precise a bit more your question, Veronica?
Yes, Veronica, please unmute yourself and ask, if you could ask directly, to clarify it a little bit. Okay. Okay, guys, maybe we will ask
because
someone else.
I think that Veronica has done a few processes with me also in the past, so it would have been interesting to have feedback.
Yes, Veronica, if you are here, please unmute yourself. But I think for now we will just ask someone else to ask questions. And
absolutely.
Veronica, if you are back, then we will be happy to hear from you. So, okay, guys. So, do you have any more questions? Who else has any questions?
Can I ask something?
Yes, Vital.
Cravings. How do you deal with that? And why do we have it in the first place? I mean, crave things that we're not supposed to crave. And how do you deal with that? I mean, with all the temptations around, and it's hard.
Thank you. Yes, cravings, it's a big topic. So actually, cravings is something that we label with the name of cravings, but there are two main different types of cravings: the physical ones and the mental one. The physical ones are the movements that we have in our bowels, in our stomach, in our digestive tract. They are produced by the noises, by sometimes the muscles, because something is happening. What is happening? What is happening is finally there is autophagy happening. It means that there's a recycle, the cleansing is ongoing. So finally your system is cleaning and preparing and reducing. Our inner organs and our stomach is like a bag, an elastic bag, and our digestive tract also. So with too much food is going to expand, and this is why we're going to have too much mass eventually, and people are going to increase weight, and not only in their body but also the head. All the body will have an increase of weight. So cravings actually is a normal and natural way of the body to restore how you should be. But as all the doctors and everyone are saying, that when you have craving is the moment where you should put some food into your mouth. you're keeping the problem without having the awareness that is the problem, is the food that you're putting that you don't need. So in the beginning, cravings can be very, very tough and very violent. So what you want, the way you want to deal with them, is to know that you are cleansing and you are having this nice autophagy that is very, very important. And what you want is not to stop. It's like we have a huge addiction to food. You cannot stop. I'm going to call it the way I want, is a drug. So food is like a drug. So if the body is under the drug of the food, you cannot stop it from a day to another. So you want to be smooth and gentle. And by using the liquids with calories, not only water, you're going to send the information that you're putting something in your system, but you're going to send the liquid information and no longer the denser information of a snack. You just, instead of taking a Mars or a Bounty or chips, you're going to take a nice juice, or you're going to take something else, a tea with honey. And this will dissolve the craving slowly, because they will understand, your body will understand, oh, thank you, you're giving me some food. Even if it is liquid, thank you so much. Try to do that the next time you are in these kinds of cravings. The other type of cravings are the mental ones, when you have nice fruits flying by, mangoes, and this is going to exalt and is going to tempt you. And so it's just knowing about who you are. This is just the function of how we are. We have put these nice images in ourselves for our own living. We want things to happen automatically and naturally. So if it's time for us to have the breakfast, we are not going to invent our breakfast. We're going to have the same breakfast we are having since years, the one that we like. If you change country, you're not going to have from the day to another the breakfast of the other country. You're going to take your own breakfast. You're going to take your own habits. So we are talking about your habits and your memories. This is what is happening when you have the cravings that are not cravings. They're just informations. So you see, just by changing the words, you change the intensity of what it means. They are just informations that you stored in your body consciously at one moment of your life, just to be used when and be triggered when the conditions are there. It means that if a flying pizza comes to you and you smell some nice cheese or anything that you like in that moment, it's because the habits of your body, this is the perfect moment to go for that perfect action. So when you turn breatharian, you understand all that naturally, because you regain consciousness, you regain awareness, you regain understanding that is something that is not mental. It is not it is something at the higher level of consciousness, that you understand how you truly function, and you're able to change that information. And this is amazing, because by changing that information, it's maybe going to take some weeks, some months, some years, but you're going to be like, I had a problem with cheese because I was living 30 years in Paris. So France is very, very famous for cheeses. And I had, in the beginning of my journey, I had huge cravings for cheeses. So when I was eating, the days I was eating, sometimes I would organize a buffet of cheese, small bits of all the cheeses like that. I would be done for weeks. But now, after 10 years now, I can say that this is an old memory now. I overcome my let's say my weakness, because we all have some foods that we say, oh no, I can never surrender on that. You'll be able to surrender on that and even more. But you need to practice. It means you will not become a yoga teacher without practice, or you will not learn a new language without practicing that language. Thank you.
Yeah, Nicolas, I just want to add to the first part that you said about giving body some kind of flavor in a liquid form. I have recently started to extend my weekly fast. I usually do 24 hours dry fast, like soft dry fast, but then I usually extend it, and my extension is with different kinds of teas, unsweetened teas, like no calories or almost no calories, but the very fact that I receive different flavors, such as the green tea, such as different kinds of spice teas, herbal teas, it makes it much, much, much easier. So, so I can testify that it's true. Like the very fact that we give to our body even a flavor without calories, it does the work. Like it was my experience that it's much easier this way to extend my fasting time. Yeah. Okay, guys. So do you have any more questions? Yeah, maybe. What was the name of this woman that who asked the question that about coffee?
It was Veronica.
Veronica. So Veronica, are you here? Okay. Then I will ask you a few questions from the chat that we received.
Yes.
And actually, I sent them to you. So the first one was, what kind of books would you recommend for people to read that would assist them in this breatharian lifestyle?
Okay, so actually, yeah, so I cannot recommend any books, because books have the definition of a book for me is something that when it's written, it has an intention, but then after time it's going to lose that intention, and the intention is going to change. So I would not recommend any books, but I would recommend for you to look on the internet and to choose and to go and Google and to see the breatharians that are living now and that are sharing now, and check the dates on the video and you want the updated information, the most clean information, because for example, what I'm sharing now with you last year, I was not sharing. My comprehension and the way I share is very much different, is expanding in quality, in everything. If you listen to my talks in the beginning, it's very different, and the same for a book. But there are certain books that inspire wisdom, and these are the books that maybe you could have a read on.
Yes, Nicolas, I'm sorry, I misread the question. So the original question was exactly about that. So the top 5 to 10 books you can recommend the most to read, which have inspired the way you live and approach life. So that was the original question, not necessarily about breatharianism.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is a very private and personal question, of course. So don't rush on the books that I'm going to talk about to buy them. But there's really one book that I had different periods in my life. My first period in my life was about history of humanity, and the history of humanity has been designed through violence. Unfortunately, this is this very animal state that we are still in, and in this environment of violence and war, there's one book that really is like shines like light in this dimension of war. It's a knowledge, basically. This knowledge is still the same book, the same writings are studied in many, many different schools, economy, even ways of life. It's a book that I recommend, and not to read it through the intention of understanding war, but to understand the mechanics of violence, how it works. It's a book that has been, they say it has been written. The information comes from 2,500 years before Christ. So it is Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Maybe some of you know about it, but that book is enough to make you understand many, many things and to open gates in your consciousness. The way it's written. Try to find a nice version of it, and it is very, very interesting. This was my first book that I relied on. So my second part of my journey in this existence was more under the spiritual books, and so I started my first my first true dive into spiritual books when I was 30 years old. So I was mature. I was not young. I was enough mature to have my own decision and my own consciousness. So I would recommend all the, not one, but the best, let's say the best sacred text that we have as a civilization. So I would just talk about myself. I started with the Bible, studied the Bible. Then I studied Buddhism through the Sutra of the Loto. It means the Sutra of the Loto is the last teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And he says that in that sutra means teaching, in that sutra of the Loto are all his precedent teachings. It means that one is worth all the ones that were previously, because our friend Shakyamuni Buddha, historical Buddha, he was able to teach from the age of 35 up to 80 years old. So it means 45 years of teachings, and that's a lot. If you see the teachings of Jesus, he had only a few years available to teach. So the quality and the wisdom of what I observed in the Sutra of the Loto is very, very good. So, and then there's the Bhagavad Gita came. Okay, the Bhagavad Gita came, so it is the Hinduistic sacred text, and then of course I couldn't miss the Quran, the Torah, the Sumerian tablets, and then all that led me to the breatharian information. When the breatharian information got to me, and I went through my transition of a few years, I just could not read anymore. I just could not read anymore. Only if it was necessary for me to get that information. But I could not read anymore the same way, because I become my own book. You are going to become your own book. You will close all the books, because truth is nowhere else than in yourself. And when you will awaken that in you and the capacity to read truth, you will say, okay, this book it's so the books are useful because they carry the knowledge and the echo of that. When I read again, or I opened the books again from my breatharian consciousness, everything was clear. Everything was clear. There was so much knowledge and so much, everyone was breatharian, basically. When you get enlightened, who gets enlightened and what gets enlightened, it's in your cells, in your atoms, it's your whole being that is channeling more energy. So it's not like you get enlightened and you're done. No, you get enlightened like you get to the butterfly state and you start a new life from a different perception. So this is what I can say on books.
Okay, Nicolas, thank you, very good. And I think this sutra, I think in English it's called Lotus Sutra. Is it correct? Lotus, like the flower, lotus, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Lotus Sutra.
Lotus Sutra, yeah. So if people want to go there and find it. Okay, good. And then we had another question. Who were the most influential and inspiring people or leaders and experiences that have marked and guide your journey?
Yes, this is so. For what I explained before, I was a game designer in my previous life when I was in Paris, and so I was designing games. My specialty was to design war games, games about war. So I was designing ancient battles, you know, about Greeks, Romans, medieval warfare, and also I was studying all these generals, very famous, you know, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, William the Conqueror, Napoleon, all different wars. So I was inspired by these men that was able to conduct so many people, to win a war, to change the rules and the nations, and it was amazing. So I was studying them, but then finally I understood that all of them failed in time. It means that it only worked for their living, and then it just failed. Everything just changed. It means that the huge empire of Greece was no longer a Roman empire, just changed. And then I was attracted by something different that came with my second part of my life after 30 years old, and came with my spiritual journey. And then I was interested in the true generals of life: Jesus, Buddha, Mohammed, and people like that. And Gandhi also inspired me a lot, because Gandhi is someone that lived, like, you know, in the last century, so it's very, very close to us. So when you understand that it's the perfect general, so he won a war without violence. He won a war against the most powerful nation in that moment was the king, the England. They were ruling all the seas. So this was really something that I was really. So you understand, and this I understood, that one man, if he carries truth in him, what he can do is just, he can reverse everything. You just need to be one. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, who you are.
Wow, amazing. Okay, thank you so much. And then the next one, what practices do you do daily to continue expanding your mind and heart?
Yes, I wrote something on this. So to keep on the state of bliss is to keep in service of life, and is to keep on my breatharian path. So even if sometimes I surrender, I put a knee on the floor, on the ground, and I say, okay, I'm going to eat something because for some unknown reason of the mystery of my existence, I need to do this action. I just go for it. But I remind myself not to be in guilt and not to be in fear. This is a daily practice. Sans peur et sans reproche in French.
Wow.
This allows me to stay in the flow, because I understood, I did my experience by exaggerating, by going to, I weigh now 74 kg. In my life, I experienced 60 kg, and I experienced also 100 kg. So I have an experience in my life of a different mass and many, many levels, and it disrupts completely my being. My thoughts, everything, my intentions, my actions. What I'm doing now in 10 years, I've done more now in 10 years than in my 40 years before in my previous life. It means what I'm doing now is significant for me.
Yeah, so when you say what you're doing now, it means that you constantly keep yourself on this track of not feeling guilt and just listening to your body. So that's what you mean? That's what you mean?
Yes, and also to be in service of life. It means what are truly my human capacity. This wisdom of life, when you hold in the flow, is always you're going to always channel it, and you're going to become part of it. And when you're going to become part of it, like I'm doing, you see me now, I'm in an apartment because I'm in my partner's house, but usually I live in the woods in a tent. I cut my own wood, so I live in a way that it's normally I'm very poor. It should not be normal, you know. If I would have kids, they would have been taken away from me, because the way I live is not normal for for European humans. But for me, this should be normality. So I'm just no judgment, no guilt. It means everyone should be free to do his own experience, and that's okay. But of course, when the experience is bringing damage to your neighbor, then there's something that could be changed, or something that you can take action on. And this is what I'm doing. I don't want to convince anyone, but I just want to speak my word. And this I could not speak it because I was not feeling in peace before with the food. Now that I created a space of peace and happiness inside of me, everything comes naturally, in an effortless way, with a lot of joy.
Okay, Nicolas, very, very interesting. And tell me, I think also the person who wrote this question also meant different energetic practices or spiritual practices that you do on a daily basis for the energy cultivation. Do you have anything that you do on a consistent basis, day after day after day?
Well, yes, I talked about that in the beginning, if you remember, but it is to, when you can be with what a human has not created. It means that there's all a different way of being. There's all a different way of living. It's just a question of habits. So if we do not change our ways of doing, we are going to a mass extinction of our human race, basically, if we do not change. And this is what we see. We are bringing our society to a lot of problems because we are weakening who we are, and we are creating violence and wars just on the verge of happening everywhere, because everyone is ready, everyone is consuming, and the consumption is not sustainable anymore. And our climate, even our air now is getting very much polluted. So wherever you are on the planet, you are not safe. This is why this is happening. It's an evolution process, just an evolution process.
Okay. And do you do any practices such as meditation, qigong, and other, like, I mean different practices aimed at energy cultivation? Because I think that's what she meant, like meditation, qigong, and other, or it's just a matter of general lifestyle and general mindset. Nicolas, just please unmute yourself. You have muted yourself.
Yes, sorry. If you just changed, what is enough is to change the way and what you put in your mouth, and the reason you put is who you are when you are doing, and this consciousness will arise slowly. You cannot accelerate on this. But the maximum effort I'm doing is the one I'm doing right now.
Okay, good. And then the same lady asked another question. If you use any supplements or tonics, etc., to facilitate, to help energy cultivation.
Yes, sorry. So because I answered to this question in a different way in the beginning. So it is what I talked about when I was taking coffee, hot chocolate, potato soup, everything that I said we use during the process, during the breatharian initiations that we do. We invite people to take all this beverage, basically, and we use also apple juice. But myself, I use sometimes chili powder. I use sometimes chili powder if I need to shake a bit my being, because I use different spices that I discovered are having a type of effect on me, but this works for me. It means that what is important is for everyone to go through the experience of what does this liquid or this food is bringing to you in that moment. It can be, of course, an aspect of joy, of a memory, of past memory, but it has also something that it wants to share with you. Because in the moment you're going to bring anything through your mouth, you're bringing an information in your system that is going to touch all your cells and your atoms. So it's a bit like when you speak. If you speak a word and you have a YouTube channel, everyone will hear that word. So the same way, when you put something in your mouth, it goes in all your kingdom or your queendom, made of trillions of atoms and cells. These are beings, and you are at the top. So if you don't know what you're doing in that moment, they are just going to receive a very, very raw information. But if you know who you are in that moment, you can change the information the moment you are doing it. So you decide, you are at the top of your own technology.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Good evening, how's it, Arik? Hi, Nicolas. Thank you very much for such an interesting and informative talk this evening. My question to you is, well, two questions, if I'm allowed. The one would be around relationships and the breatharian lifestyle. I would just like to know anything, actually. You know, is it something that's possible? You know, yeah, I think there's, you know, a lot of level 1 breatharians I've noticed are celibates or and so forth. You know, what are relationships like that in that kind of lifestyle? Are they very rewarding? Are they deeper? Is there a deeper satisfaction in relationships? And then also, this might be a bit awkward, but I mean, is there sexual activity when you actually in a breatharian lifestyle as well? You know, is there a desire for it, or is that just kind of sublimated and fall away? Yeah, that would be interesting for me.
Of course, thank you, Rory. So yes, so everything functions normally in the body, even if it is not apparently fueled by anything that people introduce. And we have seen that in there was a Prahlad Jani, an Indian yogi that was studied in Indian hospital. He claims he was out of food and water for 70 years. His inner organs were functioning perfectly. He was like a young boy of 25, even if he was 60 or 70 in that moment. So everything works. You have your load of everything. But what is happening is you don't have this interfering energy. It means the energy of the food or whatever you're processing in your body due to the food or even the liquids, the solid and the liquids that you're having, you will not have that type of energy in you. So you will be with your natural energy, and your natural energy that is an exchange of your energy and the energy of the universe. So basically, if you want to know the real meaning of Tantra, it's to become a breatharian, because you're going to have orgasm without having even physical contact. But you can, if you want to have physical contact. I can say as a man, I have much more control on my ejaculation to speak about that. And I know breatharians more advanced than me that they can really decide when and how if they want, because actually sperm is a supply for ourselves. So when you are conscious of that supply, you just don't have there are not the good reasons to get it out, you don't get it out, you just keep it. And women are going to be very, very happy because they're going to have their orgasm naturally, because it's not that creates the orgasm. The pleasure is somewhere else. The pleasure is in the exchange of what you're doing with the universe. And you do not feel any more separated from who you have around and whatever you do. It's all one. So basically, when you have a relation, you're having a relation with yourself from the point of view of higher consciousness. So when you are in that, there's no rush, there's no taking, there's no giving. You are already full. So when you are in that fullness, you are just floating in the love, what we call unconditional love. So of course, you can have any type. What we call celibacy is, we call the capacity, you are not committing anymore. Even if I'm in a relationship with someone now, we are really free. It means that I have the feeling that whatever happens, if we walk away, it will be exactly, and it has to be, for me, my point of view is it has to be like that. We met for a higher reason, and for a higher reason we were split. And this is what we are doing as an existence, as humans. We came here for a higher reason and manifesting our human body, and for the same reason we are going to change destination and go for another journey after we have our birth and our death, I mean. So celibacy and constriction should not be part of the breatharian journey. No constriction, no privation. You just need to know who you are and what you're doing, and just take responsibility. And everything is going to happen naturally. Did I answer? Thank you.
Wow, great, Nicolas. And actually, we have another person here who has done this pranic process with you, Morgan Owens, because they left also something in the chat. But Morgan, maybe you could just unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about the process, because they say that it is really recommended to do this process with Nicolas. And then I have also done process with Nicolas. So Morgan, are you here? Okay. Anyway, they say I have also done process with Nicolas, and it's a beautiful experience, a beautiful special experience. Okay. So that's another testimonial for you. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I had another one. In my often I'm my intention is split between like going toward what is really like positive, and another part is one to expose what's going what is not going right, like injustice and all this. Do you feel that when you're on that path, like you're only concentrating toward positivity, or there, because trying to expose like drains you from your energy? Or what do you think about those two possibility of involvement in the world?
Yes, so it is about bringing harmony and equanimity to your inner organs. Whatever the quality of who you are inside will reflect what is happening outside, and the way you perceive it. So it's not about being positive or negative, but it's about being equanimous. It means to have a neutral view, to have the capacity to take action, and to have the capacity to take the correct action without wanting to go following something that is labeled positive or something that is labeled negative. For example, how can we say that when the snow comes on the land and it's going to get very cold, many animals and maybe poor human beings are going to just suffer the coldness and maybe die from it, you know? So in one way, depending the point of view, you're going to say, oh, this is very negative. But on the other hand, we need the snow for our system and our biology, and so it can be also very positive. What you want is to have this perception of what is correct in that moment. And what is correct in that moment, you are the one that can take action. And if there is an action to do, it has to be regardless if it is positive or negative, because it is a point of view, positive or negative. What you want is just to do whatever you think is good, and whatever you think you need to do, not good and bad, of course. So I know that if I need to speak my word, I will speak it, even if it's going to disturb many people, because this is how I feel. I cannot restrain it anymore. When I was before in my ancient lifestyle, the food would cover up. And this is what we're doing as humanity. And it's maybe something good, because we need to uncover up all the suffering that we have stuck for so many centuries, that our ancestors have given to each other. And now we are in a situation where we can talk to each other, and we can try to find a way to disarm and to clean and to pacify and to reveal who we are and our capacity to not to have this heaviness. And it is much linked to how are you feeling inside. Are you in peace? Are you struggling? Are you digesting? How much food and how much shit do you have inside of you? Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, guys, any more questions? Because otherwise we're gonna wrap it up very soon. Okay, Nicolas, so you told us that you were going to have your next retreat on the 1st of May, right? So could you please tell us a little bit more about that, like all the details that people need to know? Is it going to be an online retreat, or is it going to be a retreat in your facility, and how to prepare and how to contact you, like all the information that people will need?
Yes, thank you, Arik. So we're going to have it. We're going to have it in presence in our Pranic Center in Italy. You can find all the informations on the website that Arik is going to share on the links on the information.
Below the video.
We are going to have online. We have in-person process every month, but of course it's if you're far away, if you're in Quebec, we have them online every month. And we started when we had the COVID coming, so it helped us to understand that it's possible to do it online. We're going to use Skype. We're going to meet once a day. It's going to last 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. It's going to be a bit like this. Everyone will be able to share how he feels. We'll be able to ask questions. Every day there will be different information, different questions. There will be different happenings. We are going to go through the detox, physical detox, emotional detox, mental detox, spiritual detox. So there are many, many different parts of our being. I'm going to share my experience, but most of all, there's going to be the experience of the group. Everyone is going to share his own experience and what he's going through. And this is very, very enlightening for everyone. I'm going to be like a mountain guide. It means I'm going to help you if ever you need help. But if you don't need help, you're going to see that is very, very easy. Actually, it's more the mind that creates the obstacles, the fear, the not knowing of what you're going to do. But you're going to see that our intention is in 9 days, you should be able to have all the tools for you to continue. So of course, some people feel so comfortable that they extend, because you have the possibility on day 9 to say, okay, this is so great, I'm feeling so good that I want to extend to day 21. And then on day 21, if you want to go to extend, you extend on your own, because there's a moment you need to walk on your own legs. But Ellie shared that she's extending, and it's okay afterwards. We also talk towards the end of the process about integration. What are your options and what is going to happen when you're going to go back on food, and to prepare that amazing event, because the process is only the beginning. It's just the first step. The true process is to go back to food and to learn how to get out of food and to have this capacity, to install this capacity of being food free, to have food freedomness. And then people can do many processes in every month if they want, if they feel safe, because it all depends of your life and how you're living and how many adversity you're going to encounter. Social adversity, family adversity, partner adversity. So all these challenges are there, but you're going to see that at least you're going to be fine. You should be fine on the stabilization of your weight, energy being available for doing even sport, and reduction of sleep. So you should feel in 9 days benefits. This is
Nicolas,
the idea.
Very interesting. And so what would be the schedule for someone who is doing this retreat online and wants to continue with their regular lifestyle? How much time do they need to free every day for the meetings and maybe some other practices?
Well, no, it's only the talking. We are going to just have a meeting like this, and this one is a bit long because it's already. It depends on the amount of people. Usually the groups are not so big, so it's quite private. It can be 4, 6, 8 people. We do in different languages. So we do we are expanding now to Portuguese and Spanish. We have Italian, French, English. I personally do English and French. Raffaella does Italian, and we are preparing new facilitators to do it in other languages, because it is something very easy and very, very affordable for everyone. And it's only 1 hour, 1.5 hours maximum. We have the chat. I'm always available all during the day. If you want private meeting, we can talk. You can ask me private questions. The chat on Skype is always available if you want to share with the other members of the group. And we meet once a day, and the time of the meeting is decided by the participants. And usually we manage to connect everyone. We had an ongoing group we had Ellie, she was in Argentina. We had Bante, he was in Mumbai in India. We had someone in Finland. So we usually manage to fit everyone in one timing.
Amazing. And Nicolas, and if people want to participate, do they need to do any particular preparation now before the retreat?
No, no, you don't need any particular preparation. The only thing that you need is to be informed on pranic living and breatharianism. So people who are here are informed. You just need to know that it's not a fast. This is very important. And you need to be at least in good health. It means not to have any major obstacles. It means you need to have a good heart. You need not to take any kind of heavy medicaments. So we have some documents that you need to sign and to fill, with a survey to see if you're fit to do this process, because it is something that can be dangerous if it is done not in the correct way. And we are touching something that it can be very fragile. It's the way we function. So it has to be done with a lot of cautiousness.
Okay. Nicolas, and if a person does take particular medications, so can they still participate, or it depends on the person and on the kind of medications? What's your policy about that?
Yes, absolutely. We are going to discuss it case by case, and in a very rare case, once we had someone with a pacemaker, yes, on the heart, and I was a bit, because I'm not the doctor, so I don't know if it's dangerous or not. So I had to make her. She did a paper from the doctor that allowed her to do the process, and I talked with the doctor on the phone to be sure that she could, and we just raised the number of calories that she was taking. We raised it, but she could do it on a liquid form, and she was having, I think, 1,500 calories through liquids, and it was fine. And yeah, so we need to see person by person.
I see. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions before we wrap it up? No. Okay, Nicolas, so thank you so much. Okay, just before we close, I just want to say that you will find the recording of this video if you put on YouTube a weekly fasting group channel, then you will find this video and also the previous video by Nicolas and many other interesting videos. Now, when you go to this video, it will be available on YouTube from tomorrow. You will find all the contact details of Nicolas. So then you will be able to contact him and register for his retreats. So that's how it will work. Okay, Nicolas, so before we wrap it up, do you have anything to add? Any other thoughts, wishes, message, whatever you feel like?
Yes, thank you, Arik. Thank you very much for the amazing work that you do, connecting every one of us and having this intention of finding truth. Thank you to all the participants that have showed up, and all the ones that are not here are also receiving our good intentions, because we are one. So if ever you want to go deeper, you can text me, you can write to me. I'm always available. We have time for you, and probably talk again maybe next month or in a few months. I would be happy to talk again. Absolutely. And and this is the time to have an experience if you want. It's just something. It's a new information that you can add to your own information. It is not something that we just want to. What we want is to make people know that you can eat, but there's also an option of eating in a different way. So this is pranic living, breatharianism. Thank you very much, all of you, and enjoy everything.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.